All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Go and check out its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. And we're back here in the GVC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, pinned post, home video, wherever, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So over on the left side here, well, we got FSIC, kind of a graph in white. Over on the left, the highest intent peeps, search on Google, search on social media, social search for the highest, or, for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. So we focus on those peeps, we make our videos about BSS. And wherever on the right, the lowest intent peeps, the only way to reach them is interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram. They ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and most of them don't even know what boudoir is. So that's what we talk about over on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS, and over there right now, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so now into BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this when a boudoir photographer has either zero or one slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots is bad, that's a fast death, that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are one and done. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2, which means we're going to be dying a fast death. One slot on page 1 is not good enough either, because there's 10 organic slots page 1. So it means there's could be 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone else is one slot. So everyone else looks the same. Everyone else is one slot. Buyers simply, approximately 80% of buyers. So we got to click down everyone, every link on page 1. They're never even going to go to page 2 or anything deeper. But for the 10 that are there, they'll contact everyone, get quotes, price shop everyone, negotiate, stall, delay, blah, blah, blah. Just annoying way to run a business dealing with this. Now, 0 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes, one, are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about now. People get a new iPhone, new phones, new cameras, new gear. They're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they now for boudoir. They are, throwing up their website saying that for boudoir, competing with us page 1 on Google search, posting in mom groups now from boudoir. This basically lowers margins for everyone, lowers price for everyone, decreases the probability, that anyone gets any buyers because it's more sellers, boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder for every single seller. And there's a big blast of this COVID. A ton of new boudoir photographers entered the market because everyone lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, super powered camera, so pretty easy kind of to see why that happened. Now, second, actually the biggest thing, which I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, is the false belief of page 1 equality. And the false belief of page 1 equality, it's kind of like the automatic belief boudoir photographers have had is that, every boudoir photographer gets 0 slots page 1 on Google. So if your website ranks there, cool. And maybe you had it there and somebody else came and ranked their website ranked higher on Google page 1, took you down to push you out to page 2. And boudoir photographers are like, well, yeah, I'm on page 2 now. I guess I gotta hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them, so that hopefully Google can put me back on page 1. But no, this is 100% a false belief. It's 100% incorrect. And I know this because I myself went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using our new methodology we developed. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. 100%. I know that is true, which makes the false belief of page 1 equality false. Now, we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. That's because, if we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, we're only on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. Yeah, we're disappearing and fast. Same if we only got 1 slot on page 1, we're still basically invincible, being price shopped to death. We're getting contact form fill outs, but price shopped, people gotta, they gotta save up for it. We know they ain't never buying. And as a result, both these are kind of a signal. Well, BSS, it's the signal. It's what makes us a disappearing boudoir photographer, but BSS itself is the signal that, the check engine light, the warning light that we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our business is on the path itself to disappearing. That's what that means. But we did finally discover a solution. We discovered it because we invented it. So we've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And we invented this, and it works exactly as it says, S cubed methodology. Social search saturation. We're saturating social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. So we show up there, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains on the backside, the eastern side in South America. So what happens with that snow is it melts, goes into small streams, small rivers, and eventually across the whole mountain range. It all actually flows to the Amazon River, which is the Amazon River is Google page 1. But we got to get our snow up top the mountains first. That's our social search saturation. And so when we rank there, good enough ranking there, then eventually flow onto Google page 1. Now, one of the interesting things is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight back against market saturation and allow a boudoir photographer to grow their business even with more boudoir photographers entering the market every single day in a relatively quick time frame. And the only other solution I've seen that has a few of these properties is to actually have a large, well-known brand. That would definitely persist with market saturation. But dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. That's not relatively quick. We ain't got time anymore. AI is coming to take more people's jobs every single day. We got to get page 1 domination, page 1 visibility ASAP. And so actually an interesting thing is my estimate is I believe SQ methodology actually executing it increase the probability of having a large well-known brand by speeds it up by my estimate is 8x. So 8 times faster to achieve that. And imagine if you got a large well-known brand and you're using SQ methodology, I mean, you're basically untouchable at that point. Now, for example, if SQ methodology successfully grown a business in spite of more and more market saturation or massive market saturation, imagine, let's say there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Fargo, North Dakota. We're one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website trying to rank page 1 on Google. Right now, there's only 10 organic slots for 1 million boudoir photographers, so ultra competitive. And we don't have enough time to build a brand, so our only hope, our only solution is S cubed methodology. And as a result, we realize, hey man, we gotta crank this up to the max. So we do S cubed methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we're getting like we take over the first 300 slots of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. Take up those slots, and as a result, let's say it flows onto Google, and say we're taking the first 300 Google organic slots as well for high intent boudoir buyer search. And what actually happens is Google search is 10 organic slots per page. So dude, we're taking like the first 30 pages of Google. So let's say we do that, and guess what? Anytime any boudoir buyer in our city is searching on social networks or in Google, then what actually happens is we're basically the only one they see across all surfaces. I mean, if they want to find us an organic search result, we're basically the first 300. They got to go page like 31 to basically see any of our competitors. And approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 only searches. Who the heck's going to page 31? So you can see how powerful this is. So obviously in this situation, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is stalling, dying, disappearing? The 999,999 other boudoir photographers who are competing, but no searchers can find them. And so this is what the magic of SQ methodology can enable. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we now have page 1 visibility. Get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Get our second initial benefit is every new slot we get, we actually kick off a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is super awesome. A lot of boudoir photographers feel like this is actually their benefit they like the best. Making other boudoir photographers become disappearing boudoir photographers on page 2, maybe on page 3, and eventually those competitors' businesses disappear. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google search. And that's because basically everyone else will be 1 out of 10 slots. So we're going to be dominating all of them, looking totally different from all the others, really catching buyers' eyes because they're seeing our name so much. And if the off rare chance someone else has 2 slots page 1 on Google, then we're still dominating them. And finally, we know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, look at my results here utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir and take as much page one slots as possible. So let's see the results I got by exclusively using S-cubed methodology. Let's get organic slot 1 here, Instagram. That's me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And as a result, found from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. So these are the results that I got. Now, all right, main event here. We're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. Also going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California, and let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check it out here. Let's see. All right, we got one. Boom. Nice. City's always harder than local. So, all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got so local we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness. You search, locally, and do a local search and a city search for the high intent keywords. And you got boudoir search sameness, and you've realized now that page 1 equality is a false belief, and now we have a methodology to take as many page 1 slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got the website, got the Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page 1 that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page 1 of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all, because we'll have so much coverage on page 1. They'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, which we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increases the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions, or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. Kind of, it's a back-end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asking about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. That was it. And so, kind of back-end benefits is we're future-proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, one, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with 1 person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this SQL methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 of Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possible you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3? How much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide SQL methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.